Sunday edition. There I am. Welcome, welcome, welcome. 5x5, anybody? There's so much for me to do with these mixers and the transition screens and everything. Let's see. Can you hear me real quick? I know there's a lag. But we should be good to go now. Sound check. 1, 2. I do not hear the hum. As we are 5x5, Linda, can I get a check, please?
Checking.
Yeah.
1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Check. 1, 2. Can people hear me?
So we should be good to go. If you guys can hear Linda, I'm sure you can. I can hear her. And we don't have the hum. We do not have the hum. Oh, gracious. I have to send something to myself. Let's see. Well, guys, this is a special edition of Sunday, right? Sunday, usually we are here on Fridays, 8 to 10. But now we are Fridays and Sundays because of the schedule I have with my son has changed. So I hope you guys all can understand that. And Linda, I'm stoked to be here. I hope you are as well. You've brought
Thomas.
Yes, ma'am.
Thomas, I think you owe us a little bit of an update on Daddy Day. And I think we should call it Daddy Day. And I think every Sunday you should let us know what happens on Daddy Day.
Well, I like the idea. I love the idea. It's, again, things have changed on my end with my life behind the scenes. But yes, I do get my son on Fridays, which does interfere with the show. I don't mean that in a negatory way, but yeah, we had snow up here this weekend. We had like 4 inches of snow, which was really cool. My son's only seen snow once. So we went wild. We had a great time. I also have virtual reality now. I bought that. So that blew his mind twice. So we had a great weekend, and he went back yesterday. So that's the update. And I don't mind giving the updates. I do like it. I love when my son comes and visits, and I appreciate the asking of that. We have a very interesting topic today. We really do, that you've brought to my attention. That's pretty mind blowing. And it's Project Ibis. And if you don't know what this is, it's pretty crazy. It's I've never heard of it. All these projects, Project Mockingbird, Project Looking Glass, Project Ibis. They have all these projects out there. These, that they have planned for everything. So can you start us off by trying to bring it into layman's terms what Project Ibis is? IBIS.
Yeah, and this is super interesting. I think I started listening to James Casbolt, and I don't know if anybody knows who he is, but I've been listening to Max Spears. And I've been listening to Max Spears for a very long time. And I think what's interesting, too, is they met in Project Ibis. And they talk about each other, knowing each other, but they kind of look alike almost. It's almost like they resemble each other.
Mm-hmm.
And they both talk about being places and seeing doppelgangers of themselves. So it's just this
weird
thing. These people that were involved in this project, more than likely, they're cloning them and creating these clone bodies of these. Now, let me give you the rundown that James Casbolt gave, because I thought it was pretty basic. Project Ibis is an NSA MI6. It's a program for tracking the DNA in 42 kids. They were born into the project, okay? They have what is called blood prime. That's what they call it. and it is called Anunnaki, and they have written in parenthesis Velon in some places, or Velon, Velon, Anunnaki Velon DNA, and it's an alien type of DNA, and it's only one type of alien DNA according to the people who have been a part of this Project Ibis. The Anunnaki is only one form of alien DNA. Now, what they're saying is that there are alien hybrids on the planet with alien DNA, and that the Illuminati, which was already, according to Casbolt, they formed the NSA, the Illuminati did. So they're all, they are the NSA and MI6. So now they took these 42 kids and they're tracking them and taking them in and putting them through an MK Ultra super soldier program, because that's what they do with these kids, with this alien, well, they're calling it Anunnaki alien hybrid DNA. They want to turn them into super soldiers, and so they have to track them. And I was just listening to Max Spears talk about Project Oak Tree, which was very interesting, because what you just said, there's all these projects. I mean, it's very, very confusing. And he even said Project Oak Tree is related, but it's different from Project Ibis, because Project Oak Tree, and I was right in the middle of writing it down, and I looked up at because this stuff is fascinating.
There's a lot to it. There's a ton to it.
Yeah, but he said Oak Tree is finding the mothers to house the children and that have specific wombs. So it sounds like they're actually breeding these things and putting them, they're finding kids that have certain DNA, and then finding mothers where they can actually create these things in some sort of a laboratory environment. And Max Spears says there's tons of parallel projects that are similar to this Project Ibis.
Yeah, I was looking through it, and some of the stuff, it was saying that Project Ibis Life Extension.
Yes.
And it was born, these people are really old. This has been around a long time. Sunny Skies, thank you for the super chat, celebrating the news this week. Absolutely. And guys, if you've never seen this show before, we try to stick to a more conspiratorial set of ideas, set of topics, because me and Linda we do take on the news every single day, and we like to go into different areas. We like to go to different corners of the internet and find these cool, interesting topics that most people don't even know about. Yeah, go.
We like to go beyond the headlines.
There you go. We like to go beyond the headlines. That's 100% true. And it's we've been doing this for a number of weeks now, and it keeps getting better and better and better. Yeah. And we've taken on some awesome, interesting topics. So guys, if you're wondering what's really going on, that's what's going on. And if you're liking what you're hearing, smash that like button right now, and make sure to subscribe to my channel, True Reporting, and to Linda's channel, McAllister TV, and follow both of us on Twitter at True Reporting and at Linda_Paris. Linda, you've been slamming it on Twitter lately. I've been following you. You've been going crazy, which is awesome. Yeah,
I'm getting snarky. And I have my Linda Paris account, and then I'm going to have my McAllister TV online account, which is, I can't remember, it's at Gene Mac, but it's got a number after it. But my screen name is Snarky McSnark.
Oh, love it.
Other one on McAllister TV. But I'm going to keep the McAllister TV safe one, and then I'm going to go, I'm going to give these people a piece of my mind.
Yeah, well, you've been doing it. I've been watching it. It's been awesome. You're abundant. Thank you so much for that awesome super chat. Appreciate it. So much respect, brother. Shine on. God bless the United States of America. Where we go, one we go all. Hashtag U17. Hashtag winning. All right, guys. Back to what we were discussing real quick. So I'm looking at this, and this is old. Like this timeline of these, I believe, of the children are from like the 1800s. Is that what you looked at, or no?
I don't know. I haven't. You want me to go through what I have here? Because I have some interesting stuff we can talk about. And
Sure.
then maybe start adding things in. There is a lot here. And I think maybe that they may be talking about the Emerald Chamber when they're talking about the life extension. I actually wrote that down as a possible topic for Beyond the Headlines. But here's what I wrote down. And I think this is fascinating. Project Ibis, what they all remember is being in the Rocky Mountains, underneath the Rocky Mountains, in a deep underground base in Canada, underneath the Rocky Mountains, in a town called Nelson. And it was the NSA MI6. Now, this was in the 70s. And again, DNA for tracking 42 kids born. They were born into the project, so their parents had the same kind of DNA. And they were born into the project with blood prime DNA. And I've explained, they believe it's alien DNA hybrid, Anunnaki. Now, they talked about the Giza Intelligence Group being responsible for this, the Giza Intelligence Group. And that is underneath, located in a deep underground base underneath the Giza Pyramid, according to what they were saying. And of course, the Giza Pyramid, that's Thoth and all of that.
Sure.
Which is the ibis, he's got the bird head and everything. And there they found life extension technology in something called the Emerald Chamber, or the Emerald Rooms. And they said that the Germans found them under the Giza Pyramid, but that there are other Emerald Rooms in other locations. And they said at this Q552 Nelson base, German principles were taught.
Mm-hmm.
And it was taught, it says, Odinus, he pronounced it, I don't remember how he said it, Odinus, Odinice, or something like that. It's a fellowship, the Odinus Fellowship, and it's Britain's oldest religion, and that's what they taught at the Nelson base, but it's got German principles, the N-word.
Mm-hmm.
And what they were really trying to do was basically create the Uberman. That's what it was. It was a continuation of the Nazis' Uberman, Superman project. And that's really all I know. It was a MyLab, military laboratory experiment, but it was more than an experiment. I think it was a program. They had already, decided they were going to do it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the reason I said that it's old is because they're talking about Project Ibis life extensions and all that, and I just looked up Emerald Chamber, and yeah, that's crazy stuff. I'll get into that too, but because you're giving me a lot right here, so I'm gonna share this with you. I'm gonna bring this into focus, real quick. Mary Radcliffe, thank you so much for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And 27 Sparkle says, 2 amazing truthers. Thank you, 27 Sparkle. I appreciate that. Very sweet of you. Let me bring this in so you can check this out, what I am showing everyone else. So this is what I found. And I found this from Project Camelot. If you don't know who that is, follow Carrie Cassidy. She's an incredible investigative journalist. So this is what I wanted to show you. It says Project Ibis Life Extension. You tell me if this makes sense to you. Born 1789, Alsace, Lorraine Underground Facility, German-France border, right? So you're talking about this is could be of German descent or inward, and not that one, descent. Mother unknown, father Commander Sarion, full name unknown. Timeline, says here, 1812, these people were doing cryo sleeps at this facility in the 1800s. And again, this is just proving to everyone that we're hundreds of years behind in technology. This is just proving that. It's
and it also proves why these people look so bad.
Oh, very true. Yes. You're talking about the politicians and all these people, the high ups, why they look so terrible, because you're saying that they're older than they really say they are. But yeah,
Q told us that.
That is true. Yes.
And so did the president, I think, in his own way.
Recently, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I remember him saying some stuff like that. 1812. So this woman, seriously injured in Paris, body cryogenically frozen and transported to an underground facility in Alberta, Canada, within the Rocky Mountains, right? That's what you were talking about earlier. Kept in a cryo sleep at this facility, unfrozen from cryotosis, now lives between underground facility and lumberjack community in Alberta. 1902, travels back to Germany. Then we see here 1914 to 1918, serves as an officer in the German Army War during World War II, serves as an officer in the German Army World War I and II, 1945, transported from Germany to America during Project Paperclip, which is ultra unit involvement, with German ultra unit involvement. 1947, help from the CIA. 1947, 1950, worked at an underground facility in Dulce, New Mexico, and many other deep underground military bases in the United States. You stated that as well. The NSA created Event 2 to take place with ultra units seriously injuring and body placed in cryotasis. Once again, this lady's been through a lot of stuff. Cognitive conditioning with wild animals such as wolves and advanced Skinner boxes for the next generation. Go for it.
I know a little bit about that too.
Yes, go for it.
I didn't write the notes down, but I remember what he said about the Skinner boxes.
Yes.
And what they do is they put, Skinner, he did that experiment where it's like they get the food, when they push a lever or something like that, he electrocutes them. He tries to modify their behavior where they get rewarded or they get electrocuted or whatever.
Sure.
And the Skinner boxes, can you put that up again?
Yes.
Here it is.
Absolutely. I'll bring it up right now. There's a little delay between me and you, but I'll pop it back up for you.
The animals and the wolves. I got it.
Yeah.
It's because he was saying that what they do is they'll put you in a Skinner box.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll be like naked. They put these kids in the Skinner box. This is part of the super soldier training.
Mm-hmm.
And with an animal. I mean, they'll put a little kid in a Skinner box with a wild animal. And watch the kid interact and fight with this wild animal. And they keep doing it just enough, because that's one thing all these victims say. They know just when to stop it.
Sick.
Sometimes kids die, but they know just pretty much when to stop it before it gets to that point. And just when it gets to the point, they get the animal to go back, and then they do it again. So every time the kid goes into this box, they know they're going to have to act like an animal. And so that's what that does. That conditions them to access that part of their brain, their animal part of their brain, and to become a predatory like that. So yeah, they put them in there with animals so that they will get the characteristics of the animal.
That's sick. Yeah, they condition them. That's what it is. Skinner boxes is basically, it's for conditioning people. You're right. Creating them into something else. It's just an experiment on human beings, sick people. And again, that's why it comes from that subgroup in Germany. They were all about experimentations on human beings. Wonder where they got that idea. Cognitive conditioning with wild animals such as wolves, advanced in Skinner boxes for the next generation NSA super soldier programs. 1980, we're getting up to speed here. Rescued by COM-12 Majestic unit while being transferred from Alberta facility to Dulce facility with group of, in quote, children. And this is where we're bringing up to speed. 42 children tracked in various countries. Blood Prime was being tracked by the NSA and MI6 Anunnaki DNA. The project started in 1972, initiated from Tavistock Institute by Dr. Green and others. And then it goes into this huge thing. Go for it.
I just want to say, Dr. Green, that is Mengele. That is Joseph Mengele. And Dr. Green, think about this. It's Joseph Mengele, but he called himself Dr. Green. Well, the Green Man is Satan. So he's calling himself Dr. Green. And they say that Dr. Green, who was Mengele, always looked the same. And he was like, who knows, 190 years old. But that he was even still, when these videos were taken, Max Spears and James Caswell were saying that they thought he was still alive and that he probably looked like he was about 50 or 60 years old, that he never aged. He always kept himself looking. This is what they said. He always kept himself at about 50 or 60 years old, no matter, after he was had passed.
Wow. I'm just got into the Emerald Chambers in the mid 80s. And we can do paragraph by paragraph. There's only 3 paragraphs, so it'll work out good. Hello, Mr. Truman. So it says here, so the Emerald Chambers in the mid 80s, and it goes right into Mengele. So it says here, classes continue at the facility in Brazil. We are taught the basics such as telekinesis. We move various objects around in the classroom, such as pencils across desks. Much of the mind training centers around, in quote, concepts, as well as a practical applications. We are taught the greatest block to these abilities comes from the false belief in an eternal God. What? We were talking about that earlier, Linda, we are taught we come from, in quote, the great water, not a literal sea, but a sea of infinite potential energy where anything the mind can conceive, it can achieve. This is the source/force that is our essence, a type of quantum physics again. We are also taught that Jehovah, the biblical, in quote, God, is an extraterrestrial, a human being just like us. So, we can continue forward or we can stop there. But me and you were talking about this earlier. It was, we don't have to. It was off camera. But I'll just bring it up that we were saying that when you do have the real beliefs that there is a God and that there is someone, that there is an entity, that there is a higher power helping us and guiding us, that things tend to come to you easier. Things tend to come more fluidly. And I think and they said that they are not able to connect, which I've said this so many times, they're not able to connect to these special abilities, which we all have. The president always says we're special people, like telekinesis and telepathy, remote viewing. These things we can do. We have to connect ourselves to higher source to basically activate this stuff, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of them wanting to destroy our pineal glands has to do with our ability to pray and talk to God. And I say that knowing it is one thing, but when you put yourself on that path with your actions, righteous actions, and you follow through, because a lot of people, they might believe in God, but they might have a different, like my Uncle Bill. He's not really my uncle. My parents were only children, but he was my dad's cousin. Mm-hmm. And he used to say all the time that he could do whatever he wanted to, as long as he went to church on Sunday and asked for forgiveness. And my dad and him used to get into this argument all the time. And the way I look at it is, no, that's not going to work. You have to walk the walk. And if you're going to, you have to walk the walk. Regardless, if you're going to have a belief system, and it's one thing to have a belief system, it's another thing to actually seek out conversations with God and to ask God, what should I be doing, and just say, what do you want me to do? What kind of person do you want me to be? And if you get an answer and you don't follow that path, then good things aren't going to come to you. But
no.
If you get an answer and you say, okay, I'm in, I'm going to do it, which is what I think I'm doing right now. And what you said, you're doing, we're both doing what we think God wants us to do.
Yes.
And when we do that, a lot of good things have come my way. A lot of my problems have solved themselves. And
that's a great way to say it. A lot of our problems have fixed themselves. They've solved themselves, which is, that's a good way of saying it. Jeff George, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, thanks you guys for doing this. Hey, anytime, my man, anytime. We'll go up a little louder with Linda. People are saying you're a little low. We should be good though. So I'm going to continue forward on the next paragraph. It says this again. This is within the Emerald Chambers. Okay, so it says, days go by and we are brought one evening to a large hall with two German symbols. I can't say that word. Next to the entrance, George Bush Sr. is in attendance with many other men in various types of uniforms. GBS. I guess I'm not following. Well, I'm sure we'll get to that. And others, George Bush Sr. and others are interested in our physical ability in this test. And we take part in martial art matches, climbing ropes, vaulting over tall objects, stamina tests, etc. The tests are very hard, but not brutal. We hit a peak after a while, and cannot really get tired after we hit this. We can go almost indefinitely. The test goes on for hours. The worst is hand-to-hand combat, full combat, but quite easy, really. So we have here in these Emerald Chambers, we see George Bush Sr. direct ties to the German Reich, the Third Reich is what I'm going to say, and also with the CA as well.
Just one point I want to make, because you said George Bush Sr. and James Casbolt was talking about George Bush Sr. a lot. And he had a lot of experience with George Bush Sr. and he called him a master programmer, which I thought was interesting, because I've never thought of George Bush Sr. as anything but an old coot,
Absolutely. Garbage.
Master programmer. I was like, what? So yeah, master programmer. And he said that with reverence. So God only knows what the old man's done,
He's done a lot of damage for sure.
Yeah, we know some things he's done. So he didn't just get from being a normal person to doing the things that we know he did.
No, it's quite disturbing. Again, just so many ties, and these people play two different characters. They play the president on one side, and then this charming person who's leading the country. But there's always conflict, there's always war, famine, so on and so forth. And then in the back end of everything, they're doing stuff like this. And I guess this is basically building these men up to become super soldiers. And it says on the last paragraph, before we get into Mangala, we see, after a while, pain becomes pleasure. After the test, we shower, get changed, and then come into a large room where we have been in before. Another hall with a huge table set out with great food. We all sit down, and George Bush Sr. and the Germans in their mid-30s stand up and raise their glasses to us, saying something about the future. He seems like a very friendly guy, just like I was saying, who likes to have fun, always laughing and joking with everyone. At the end of the meal, we line up and George Bush Sr. pins medals on our jackets. We are then escorted back to our dorms, exhausted, but feeling good. Jeff George says, National Pizza Day, HRC, and Podesta looking for a party. Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Absolutely. So, again, George Bush Sr. there putting pins. They look like they're trying to... I don't know what these super soldiers are for. Do you? Are you?
Well, this is like Hitler Youth, and there's a couple of ideas that I have. I think definitely they're part of the New World Order. They were going to be assassins, and come out and I think these people were born into the elite, so they are of elite bloodlines. So when I've seen memes that describe Rothschild as Anunnaki banker, and if you look at his head, he's got a very strange,
the elongated
skull. I mean, that's not a normal skull.
No.
Really. And a lot of these people don't have normal features, but we've been taught not to be rude or not to stare or not to, we're all about, being politically correct and this and that and the other. So I think a lot of it's gone by us, but I'm starting to like the eyes sliding all over the place, all over their faces, and the black eyes. For so long we were confronted with that, and now we've got the teeth coming down into points, and now I'm noticing some of their ears go up into points, like Rockefeller had pointed ears, and a lot of these people have pointed ears, and it's not, I'm not joking, it sounds like I'm making a joke or something, but
no,
a lot of, and I think George Bush I don't know if George Bush has pointed ears or not, but I guess my point is that when they talk about Anunnaki DNA being in this blood prime and humanoid, hybrid. They all say it's just one type of alien DNA. So that catches my interest because I'm wondering what else they're talking about. Also, I wanted to bring up the point that when I was listening to the Max Spears interview, this interviewer asked him, he said, when did the Anunnaki come here?
Great question.
When did they come back?
Yes. Right.
When did they come back? And Max Spears said they never left. He said that several times.
They went underground?
Yeah, and I've heard that over and over and over again from people. They never left. I mean, that is consistent, that what they're saying, that they never left. They went underground. And where are they now? They're underground pretty much all the time. Look at Epstein Island. Look at Dulce. Look at where they're talking about up here. And if you really look, there's probably a whole underground system that we don't know anything about around the world, or
sure,
on the globe or whatever, on the planet.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, I've heard a lot about that these things went back underground, that there's actually a subterranean war going on as well. Who knows? Again, it's speculation, but I mean, I'm leaning towards, yes, these things, I just don't believe that what we see is what it is. I think that's the furthest thing from the frickin' truth. That we're just part of this simulation. I'm not saying this is a simulation. I'm just saying that it's created. It's an illusion, not a simulation. Right. But now I want to get into this because this is when things get insane, and I'm going to need your help on this, your guidance per se. It says Dr. Green, and we all know that's code word for Mangala, right? It says,
well, it's Mangala, and also Satan, is the green man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It says, now it is time for the Emerald and quote torture chambers. We are taken from the facility in Brazil. It is hard to remember when I had traveled from that place. We arrive at a temple somewhere in a jungle region. A small group of men led approximately 10 of us children down the steps into an underground section of the temple. Dark, damp, underground chambers are situated here. Men are already in one of these rooms with machines that light up the chamber with a green light. Beds and chairs, medical looking with restraints, are in the room. We are strapped in. I am placed in a chair near the middle. Electrodes are hooked up to various parts of our body. We are told by the man in charge that the sessions will be divided into two parts. The first will be a quote still session where electrical currents will be administered to us. We are to become still like water and not, in quote, leave our bodies. If we can do this without dying, we will, in quote, spark, namely the fire elementals in our bodies will activate, and we will be capable of, in quote, reality programming, which involves teleportation, pyromancy, and shape shifting.
See, I go back and forth on this shape shifting thing because there's a part of me where, and I did a video on Antarctica, and I'm doing a follow-up video on Antarctica, but the point of the video of Antarctica and the breakaway civilization was that with all of this stuff that they're doing, the time traveling, and in reading about Project Ibis or Operation Ibis, there's more time traveling stuff in there.
Sure.
Yeah, it's more time traveling and all by the government, by MI6 and all of these people. Forever, like right behind our backs. But according to some of the victims who are trying to explain what's going on, that there is a breakaway civilization down there, and that a lot of these people, they have this time traveling and teleporting and all of this stuff that they're doing. We probably don't even know half of it. How did he say it? It unlocks the DNA. In order to teleport or time travel, you have to unlock the DNA. That's why those people got stuck in the boat. Their DNA unlocked, and then the boat got mixed in with their DNA. And so it unlocks the DNA. Well, when it comes back, it's flawed technology. See, that's the part I couldn't get. Well, if they're doing all this and everything, well, how come this? How come that? Well, the thought never occurred to me that the technology was flawed.
Right.
I thought they knew how to do it. and be okay. I thought they were zipping around here and there and coming back and nothing had, they were just exactly the way they were before. No, that's not what's happening. They're experimenting. They've been experimenting with all this stuff. Right now, it's not working the way it's supposed to work. And when they come back, their DNA is missing. It's shredded. And so I'm wondering if this eating of human flesh and DNA and children's blood and drinking the blood and all that stuff is helping to repair their shredded DNA. Because according to some of these MK Ultra victims, after you've done it time and time and time and time again and cloned yourself, cloning is another thing. When the clone is made, it doesn't come back all the way exactly like the original. It's flawed technology. They have not mastered it yet. And as a result of them doing all these things for so long, they are basically subhuman.
Right.
They don't have and their facial features and their skin and their hair fall, all this physical stuff happens to them when big chunks of their DNA is missing. And so I wonder if the blood and stuff, I wonder if that's what they're calling shape-shifting. And I wonder if for a while.
Oh, yeah, it could be.
They can bring themselves back with the DNA.
Sure. Yeah.
By drinking the actual physical DNA, the blood, and eating the meat, eating the pineal glands.
We're about to get into that part right now. So Seabass, thank you for that super chat. He says, "Why is Satan called the Green Man?" I didn't know. I looked it up. I don't know if you've heard otherwise. But this right here, it says, Satan is the Green Man. The joy of Satan forms. Sounds like a great place to hang out. It says Satan is the Green Man because the Yezidis, Yezidis, who called their god Satan, came from India and also called their god Al-Qadir. This title means in English, the Green One or Green Man. So Satan is the Sanskrit Vedic title of the supreme god. And god Skanda, Shine City in southern India, is called the same thing. And the title means Green One or Green Man.
There's another aspect to this too. The spiritual aspect of it is that God is of the heavens, spiritual, a higher dimension. Satan is of the earth.
Ah, gotcha.
That's why he's called. I think that's some part of why he's called the Green Man, because he is of the earth, and everything of the earth. All of the earthly things, and the maybe possible. I won't say lower dimensional things, but just earthly, not spiritual.
Right. I agree to that. Yeah, he's earthbound. He's not. He vibrates at a lower density. So continuing forward, after we said this is after they're tied down, restrained to a bed. They're hit with electrical currents. And to see if these people can survive it without dying, it will spark a fire of elementals in our bodies and create something of a reality programming, which can then create teleportation, pyromancy, and shapeshifting moving forward. This is, in quote, Phoenix programming. In its advanced levels of this area, the machines are switched on and the burn and the pain starts slowly. It gradually builds until we are screaming. The pain is indescribable. I think I am going to die. Then just as I say I can't anymore, in quote, I spark. Some kind of energy kicks in, and I cross over into pleasure. The pain becomes pleasure. I am hoping the other children have made it across, but my head is locked forward with some kind of head clamp, so I can't see. Images of fields are flashing on the rock walls with a projector the man must have brought along with them. The man in charge says, in quote, focus on this place and travel there. The scene starts to change, but my body is not going anywhere. I am changing the environment with my mind. The walls of the chamber start to fade away, and the field starts to manifest in front of me. I feel the wind on my face. I can smell the grass. Another couple of seconds, and I'm fully sitting in the field in the chair. I feel the electricity level going down and kind of miss it. And as I come back into the chamber, and then we'll go into something else after that, which is even more insane. So, what do you think about that? This is coming from, this is Michael Prince.
Yeah, this is the Emerald Room, right? Is he talking about the Emerald Room?
Yeah, this is the Emerald Torture Chamber.
I wrote a couple of things about that because I hadn't thought about it before, but I was thinking emerald also is green. The
Yes.
Green Man, Dr.
Sure.
Green,
Yeah, there you
Emerald,
go. There you
and
go.
also Emerald City. And Casbolt had talked about the Wizard of Oz, and said that if you whatever you wanted to know about MK Ultra, you could just watch the Wizard of Oz. It's like the story of MK Ultra. So I
Weird.
thought that's kind of this emerald idea, seems to be all wrapped up in the occult in so many different ways when you really start to think about it. But I thought that interesting what you just said, because it sounds like what I was listening to, and I think Og Talese was who I was listening to, and he was describing when we hear that, we think, oh God, how horrific. How do they, survive that? How can they even, how is this even allowed to happen? Like what the hell? And it sounds like the worst thing that could ever happen. But for them, they're raised in that environment. So they are taught from the time they're born. This stuff is done to them. They don't know anything else. This is life. This is their life. It just starts out that way. That's it. That's normal for them. But it's also presented as, this is going to make you stronger. That's what they tell them, those super soldiers. They tell that to all the MK Ultra victims, that this is going to make you stronger, and you're special. They tell them that too. You're special. You're a very special person. You get to be in this program. You're going to be a super soldier, but we have to toughen you up. And we have to toughen you up. Well, every time they do that, what you just talked about, I believe that's when the brain splits.
Sure.
Because Og was talking about how when you think you can't take one more second of it, suddenly it just all goes away. And it doesn't hurt anymore. And so you're saying pleasure or pain turns to pleasure. That may just be a different program.
Sure. It's like fracturing, right? Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Fracturing? Jane Arlen says Hillary's name is Evergreen. 17 said define evergreen. There you go. So thank you for that super chat. I appreciate it. Guys, if you're enjoying this, please click that like button, smash the like button. And if you want to, tag us in a question or super chat a question, I'll read it live on air, because guys, you may know something that we don't know. And if you have questions about this, I know the chat moves quickly. I'll be able to pick up on it faster, because we only have 2 mods in here today because Shane Anon is at work. But that's okay. We will keep it all together. So with that being said, we're about to get into, it's like levels. We're getting like deeper. It's just so crazy. So the next part, it says nanotechnology, human/alien/animal breeding, eating the dead. Southern Ninja, thank you for that super chat. They said the Oscars are today. National Pizza Day, usually later in February. Someone in another chat suggested maybe a rest there tonight. Would be great. Would be phenomenal if that happened.
Fantastic.
It is strange that these 2 days fall on the same. National Pizza Day and the Oscars. I bet they'll have the lowest ratings that they've ever had. I guarantee it. Troy Klein, thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks, dude. Says here, so again, nanotechnology, human, alien, animal crossbreeding, eating the dead. Mid-'80s in the Yucatan. Small groups of children are flown from Brazil to Mexico regularly over this time period. Blood vials are stored underground in this temple, as well as various other machines. Cryotech and, in quote, never heard of this, blue tubes, containers of blue liquid for cloning. The blood vials contain ET, animal, and human DNA infused with nanites. I'll have to look up what a nanite is. Do you know?
Well, I know it's microscopic, that you're not going to be able to see it.
Sure.
With the nano in front of it.
Yes. It says we are given them for drinking in this place and also injections. The AI system learns from us through the nanites when we ingest the blood. We learn from the AI system as well during this process. The end result is the ability to shapeshift and take on animal attributes for military operations. Clown programming, Dr. Green. And there's another paragraph, but that is crazy.
I don't know if you've heard this. Well, so many things come to mind when you say that, like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, all that. And then, have you guys heard this? It's these campers from the 70s, and they used to go up to this really remote camping place, and it's on YouTube, and they heard things surrounding their camp, really strange things. They didn't know what it was. Well, they took a tape recorder. They're on YouTube. These sounds are on YouTube. They took like a reel-to-reel tape. It was back in the 70s. And they set the thing up. And you can hear these things surrounding. And honestly, they sound half human, half animal. They really do. You can actually hear them talking to each other, but then making all kinds of... It is
like grunts and stuff.
It is the scariest thing you're ever going to hear. And they've already had the tapes analyzed upside down and backwards in every which way. They're not manufactured. They're not fake. And these sounds on this tape, they're on YouTube if you go listen to them. But just knowing that they're doing this, it just makes me wonder, what the hell is going on up there in the mountains? Because, again, okay, I was listening to something about human mutilations, that they're covering up human mutilations. And this guy has a video all over the world. They're covering this stuff up. But where it's happening, it seems, is right around caves. Again, with the caves, so these caves are coming into play here. And I wonder if a lot of these caves are not entrances to underground dumps.
Yeah, something just popped into my head that I remember seeing, and I'm trying to find the video right now. There was a video of, it was something to do with maybe like a riot going on in America. It might have been another country. This was maybe last year. And it was like somebody was filming them. It was like pretty much like it was a SWAT team. And the SWAT team got out of the back of the vehicle, and they're up against the building, how like you see in movies. And one of these guys, I swear to you, these men were probably 6 foot. Then one of the guys was, you saw that too? The guy was like 8 feet tall. Like,
yeah, and his skull was weird too.
He was massive. And he didn't even look like, he was like 4 times the size of a human being. I can't find it right now. They probably took it off the internet because it was a real video. It wasn't doctored. It was actually just being filmed, watching. I don't know what it was. They were trying to go and extract somebody out of a building. It was insane. And if I can find it, I'll show you guys. But
a lot of people were saying it was an AI, but a lot of people also said it was an organic AI, which is kind of weird, and also you could tell by the way it was moving. It was moving really naturally, like
Sure.
It was not moving like a robot or anything. It was moving like a giant human.
Kim Paddock says, I have a screenshot of that big guy. If you email it to me, TRUreporting1985@gmail. If you have the picture of that, send that to me, please. That is crazy. So I'm going to move forward with this. It says, because we're getting into crazy stuff, talking about shape-shifting on animal attributes for military operations, drinking blood vials containing ET, animal, and human DNA infused with nanites. Somebody said nanites are basically like nanobots. It's just like a small technology within, I guess, the serum. So Dr. Green teaches me about the power during this time. He encourages me to embrace my dark side. And we start by killing birds together in the temple and drinking their blood. During this time, Dr. Green seems to shapeshift into a white-skinned and, quote, somewhat vampire with pointy ears, pointy teeth. His body and head seem to grow bigger. Not sure I see this through the drugs or trauma. He looks a bit like almost like an evil clown or something. Screen memories of clowns are put in afterwards to cover the memory up. These processes are preparations for the main ritual will occur in this place on October 21st, 1984. And somebody says, True Reporting, the guy was more like 11 feet tall. I know what I saw. The guy was massive. You could tell that he was not a human being or some sort of superhuman or something. Again, guys, I've dropped the link into the chat. I'll drop it again, what I'm reading. Which is crazy. There's the link if you want to check that out. And let me know when you drop that picture into my email, TRUreporting1985@gmail.com. I'll definitely check that out.
So, to your point about this guy,
yes,
this soldier, and this IBIS project, I think that's what they're trying to do, actually. I think they're trying to find people who genetically, because the Anunnaki were big, right?
Right, yeah, I think you said they were super tall.
And so I think what they're trying to do is, because Max Spears says he's always seeing doppelgangers of himself, and I even wonder if they aren't trying to get compatible Anunnaki DNA, because supposedly they have on chips these ancient ones, right? And they have them in some sort of space data center. They say it's up there somewhere. A lot of people think it's actually the moon, which is a library system with these chips of these ancient people, ancient ones, Anunnakis and stuff. And so I'm wondering if they're not trying to create a bunch of clone bodies for these Anunnaki great ones and call them down or whatever they do. I don't know what they do. I'm not one of them. But whatever they do, it's like they're mumbo jumbo.
Sure. Yeah, and people are saying, Anunnaki, you mean the Nephilim, right? Egyptians had Anunnaki heads and were very tall. A lot of people, again, two other people said, yeah, I saw that video as well. 11 feet tall is more accurate. Yeah, guys, I know it was crazy, and if you can get that to me, that's great. Again, guys, smash that like button if you're enjoying this, and please subscribe to both of our channels.
The guy was like towering over everybody else.
Yeah. And he was like in the middle of them. It was very weird. They were like standing around. It was crazy. But make sure to subscribe to both our channels, True Reporting on YouTube and McAllister TV on YouTube for Linda's channel. So again, The Life and Times of Michael Prince Part 2. And now we are going to that fateful day, October 31st, Halloween, 1984 in the Yucatan, the night of Samuel, S-A-M-A-E-L, Samuel. I don't know.
Like Sam Hain or something?
I don't know, but this is when they're going to talk about going into an underground chamber within this temple. Yeah, guys, once I get that picture, I will definitely share it with all of you guys. I'm going to get a glass of water real quick. From reading all this, I'm getting a little parched, so I'll be right back real quick. If you want to talk to them about whatever, go for it, Linda, if you want to fill them in on something.
I never have a problem finding something to say. So anyway, when I was listening, because I was watching Max Spears, and I was also watching this video where there's been all these human mutilations, and they're covering it up, and this is all over the world, especially in the UK, and I think they said Wales was another place where they are literally finding these most unbelievable human mutilations. And these people it's seriously harvested. It is. And they harvest these humans while they're still alive. So something's going on where people, it's not just animal mutilations, it's people mutilations as well. And they're covering this up. They've been covering up the animal mutilations for a very long time, but I had no idea this video is like, I don't know how long it is, but it's pretty long. It's like almost an hour long, and it covers all of these human mutilations, some of them in Venezuela. And they're just found out in a field, and there's no blood or anything, and the eyes are removed, the whole throat is removed, taken out. It's all these things. There's like clean holes and the way the skin heals, they say you can tell it was done while the person was alive, and the liver was taken out, and all these. Ugh. So anyway, I just wonder if this isn't all connected in some way. They're experimenting with breeding, so you got to wonder what they're using all these body parts for.
Exactly. It was funny. I went into my cabinet and I was like, I took two glasses from my parents' house that are like really old, and they're emerald green. If you can see, I was like, I'll go along. I'll grab this emerald glass. But
that's a cool glass, though.
It is pretty cool. The green screen's not really bringing it up, but it's like an emerald goblet. So let's go. I want to get. This is a crazy story. So.
I just want to mention one thing before you started reading that again. You're reading Prince, right?
Michael Prince, yes.
Michael Prince. So what that is Casbolt's altar. So
tell everyone what that means. People might not understand an altar.
James Casbolt, who was the original guy we were talking about that was talking about Project Ibis, he has an altar, an alternative. It's his split personality. He probably has a lot of altars, but this one, Prince, comes out, and I guess this altar, these memories that you're reading now, are the memories of the altar, and that James Casbolt doesn't have these memories.
Right.
He has to call up his alternative personality or an altar. That's what they do to these people. They split their brains. They have different personalities, like an assassin maybe, or a sex slave, and they have all different personalities for different uses. So I just wanted to mention that Prince is one of Casbolt's altars, and he is holding these memories.
That's awesome that you brought us up to speed with that. That's great. Because I was pretty sure that that's what this was. So thanks for letting me understand it more. So Night of Samael, I guess that's how it's pronounced, on Halloween 1984 in the Yucatan. I am led into an underground chamber. This is Michael Prince. I am led into an underground chamber in the temple. I am told beforehand this event will be apocalyptic, and these type of rituals will decide the fate of the world in many ways. And quote, rituals to bring about the end of the world, the old order being replaced. The structure of the large chamber is a pyramid shape. Again, a pyramid. An altar is in the middle of the room with two pillars on each side of the altar. Flames burn on top of each altar. 4 men in dark robes stand in each corner of the geometrical shape on the floor. In quote, a circle with something in the middle. I am taken and I stand in the middle of the circle. I am directly underneath the point of the pyramid that is above us. They start to chant, and I can feel an entity being drawn down into the pyramid and into my body. I try to fight it, but the chanting grows louder, and I can't fight any longer. This night is a test. The test involves ascertaining whether the multi-dimensional entity being brought down into the temple can be controlled. As I stand in the middle of the circle, the chanting from the people in robes grows louder, and I feel myself being forced out of my body. The next thing I am aware of is looking down on my body from the air over 15 feet above my body. I see my body start to contort and spasm as it physically grows taller and bigger, and then it's just like ... Actually, it's a ton of X's. I don't even know what that means.
Wow.
So it's fractured? He's fractured? And he left his body?
Well, I think maybe that was like a possession or something, because I remember that someone was explaining to me about Hillary doing her magic at Epstein Island. And, that's what I said. I said, it's like if I said, I'm going to make a television set out of this hand lotion bottle. Well, you want to know how? How am I going to make a television set out of this? Well, that's kind of what they do. They say, well, we're going to bring down, an entity, and we've got a circle with some rocks. How do they think they're doing that? That's what I wanted to know, using these things. How do they think they're going to make that happen? So it was explained to me that a high witch, in order to make this happen, you have to be somewhere on the earth, like they're saying right underneath the point of the pyramid, right? or a ley line or a
Yes.
crossroads. And there's all different kinds of places that have that power. Like it's a magnetic, I think, power or some kind of somehow the torsion field is able to be manipulated on these places. Whether it has to do with the rocks or the geographical location or a little bit of everything, I'm not too sure. But the witch gets in there and stands in this spot, and there is a circle, usually of rocks, some kind of stone around, or a circle of people, or a circle of blood or whatever, and it's around there. So they start conjuring up these demons and summoning them, but the demons don't want to be controlled.
No.
They come down, they don't want to be controlled. So the circle is to protect the wizard or the magician who is calling down the entities. And the magician has to stay inside the circle, or these entities will kill the magician.
Oh, I remember you telling me this. Yes.
Because they don't want to be controlled. They want to fly free. They want to go do what they want to do.
Right.
But because the magician is the one that ushered them down, the magician is in control of them, and they don't like that. So what happens, I guess, and I said, well, where do these spirits go? Do they just fly around loose in the air, or what happens? How do they kill? How can they hurt the magician? I want some practical answers to these questions. And I was told that, well, that's why they have all these trannies and other things all around, because they are receiving these demons. So they have, they also create these mind control slaves that will also receive these demons. And they actually, when he said that about receiving this entity, they actually create a altar inside of, now this is, I hope that I can make this clear. There's all different kinds of personalities for all different kinds of functions. But a lot of times there's things people want to get out. They start to remember, they start to break free. So they usually leave an empty spot or an altar.
Right.
And the altar, that spot is for a spirit to occupy. So they create an altar that's open to spiritual possession, right? And they send spirits down into this person's head as a jailer. And they can make sure they can walk the halls of this person's brain and make sure they're not, wanting to tell or remembering anything they shouldn't, stuff like that. They have these entities that come in and actually patrol the MK Ultra victims, what's going on inside their head, to make sure everything is the way it's supposed to be. And so they use these MK Ultra victims in these ceremonies and place them outside the circle. And so these entities can go in there then during these ceremonies. But at this time, the people are possessed. And so if the wizard walks outside of the circle, these people who are normally part of the coven are now demonically possessed and will just kill the person. So that's the way it was explained to me. And I know this guy, Gene, that calls in here sometimes. He knows a lot about this. Yeah. He knows a lot about this.
So big updates. We have the super soldier. I found somebody put it in the chat. We have video of it. This is the same video I saw. And Kim Paddock, thank you so much for sending the picture in as well. Angelfish, thank you for the super chat. She says, a site called Glamis Calling posted about 17 in August 2017 and October 27, 2017, before 17 began. That's pretty crazy. Glamis Calling posted it about it, a site. And that's pretty crazy, Angelfish. Filled with Hope, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, do you think Nancy sometimes acts weird because she is channeling those things and the light energy is higher now and it's disrupting that communication? DC is on ley lines. Filled with Hope, that is a great thought. I'm sure that they are having trouble. These entities come in, they're vibrating at such a low level, and hell, guys, I know we're rising right now. Our vibrations are getting a lot more, they're getting higher, they're better, and these things can't jive with it. So it really does again, it can probably most likely disrupts that communication between entity and host. So that's a great point.
Also, to what you just said, they get off on our fear and on our rage and on our anger and on our fear and all these negative emotions. So us doing better and having a higher emotional plane is actually killing them off.
Right. Real quick, I just want to say something before I forget. Again, red carpet. Well, 17's always talked about that red carpet event.
Oh,
Could this be the red carpet event, guys? I mean, that's what the Oscars are all about. And POTUS is tweeting about that a lot. So let's go. I'm going to bring this in, Linda, so I'll share this with everyone. This is actually, it was in Ferguson during the riots. And I knew it was something to do with some like a riot. I know that's what I said. So I know what I saw. All right, let me bring this up. Boom, bang. All right, check this out, guys. Please don't get demonetized. All right, let me make it about this big. Tell me what that is.
Look how big that guy is. Look at that.
Again.
I mean, that's like a normal human movement. There's other video of it walking around too.
Yeah, let's see if there was another one.
He's like walking around or something, and the way he's walking is very natural. I mean,
right.
I don't really know, though. Nowadays, it seems like they're even calling organic things computers. That the AI doesn't mean robot like we think.
Right. And there's a still shot of just how tall. Average guy's about 6 foot. Again, this guy's probably around. I don't know. I think I was about 9 feet tall, which you're not going to see that. And it's just, I don't know.
I don't know. He looks about 11 feet
You think
tall.
He could be. I guess, yeah, I guess.
Look, it's almost like almost another one of these guys he's standing next to.
True.
From the top of the guy's head to the top, it's like 3/4 of another person.
So it falls right into place with what we're talking about with the super soldiers.
Yeah.
Very, very, very weird stuff we got going on. Debbie Alport said it's robotic. I know, guys. I told you it's weird. So, again, we all learn new stuff here. If you've never seen this stuff, you're not going to see it anywhere else. You're going to see it on the show. So, show your support, show your love. And thanks for sending that in. I appreciate that. Very cool stuff.
Just to that point, but they're not really making robots anymore. They're using, they're growing things with DNA and then putting the nanotechnology and
correct
the plastic, stuff inside.
Yeah, we're made to think like, we're made to think like, oh, it's a transformer, but no. It's way more sophisticated than this. It's way more sophisticated.
Actually, the ones they used at Nuremberg were flesh and blood. They were called robotoids.
Yeah, and guys, I mean, what is this? Blah blah blah. Somebody said something. I forgot it. Real quick. Oh, Timothy Hawkins says it's one of those Boston Dynamic robots. And I know you guys have seen that on YouTube or on your Facebook or something like that. Just know that is CG. It's CGI'd. Like those robots from Boston are not going to be working like that. That is definitely CGI. Your eyes can tell it. That, on the other hand, is very different. That looks like it's filmed from someone's cell phone. Very, very strange. I don't know what to think of it. But again, it just falls right onto topic of what we're talking about here today. And Linda's right. When you're talking about, it's not robotics, it's our blood mixed in with nanites, and different forms of DNA, whether it's ET, whether it's animal, whether it's AI, I don't know, right? So,
well, I think they're actually putting the parts, the actual computerized man-made parts. They're trying to figure out how to get it into the actual DNA so that there's extra strands of DNA that are synthetic.
Yes.
So that, I mean, these people, they just, they really want to be God in every sense of the word. You know, they're looking to they're not just looking to put a bunch of parts together and make a person. They're looking to get those parts embedded in the actual DNA strand, which is pretty fantastic when you think about it. The technology in order to do that, even come up with that.
Yeah, I agree. Miami Chris, what's up? Says on the move. Not sure what you mean, but Miami Chris says on the move. Thank you, Bubba.
He comes to my chat. He's a truck driver. He's on the move.
Oh, okay. Well, be safe out there, okay? Great. Connie Tate says Barron Trump is very tall for 13 years old. Again, that is out there, and I question a lot about that. I'm not going to get into it, but
well, I don't think, with everything that's happening right now, and people did mention Melania.
Mm-hmm.
And what about her background? And does she have any royal bloodline in her?
Sure.
These are not regular people. I think we can say that, not to say they're robots or aliens or anything like that, but obviously Trump comes from a bloodline, a successful bloodline, and I don't know. I think his father was pretty much of a self-made man, but it almost seems as though he was born for this time right now and made for this time. So, you know, I mean, I don't know how far his bloodlines go back, because Fred Trump, wasn't that his dad? And wasn't his dad a self-made man?
Sure. Trump's father looks very strange, too. Eric Fogg, hey, thank you. What's up, man? He says, what's up? Thank you for that super chat. It's very true. And someone had a point. The chat's going so fast. Barron isn't even done growing yet. He's 13. I think, guys, we don't stop growing until we're 18 or something like that. 21.
Yeah, but his mother is very tall, and actually Trump is tall too.
He's like 6'3".
Yeah,
he's a big man.
I notice every time somebody comes up on stage, like, he's taller than they are.
Right. So let's get back into this, because this is crazy. So we're going back into where the entity comes down, enters his body is contorting and spasming, and then he himself is visually seeing this 15 feet above his own body. He says here, I start to freak out about my identity when this happens, but I know I'm me, and I'm here in the air, and this thing is down there. We are two separate life forms. I relax and calm down when I realize this. I also realize something else now. I seem to be able to control this thing down below, like a puppet under remote control. I can make him walk forwards towards the guy in the robe near the left-hand side of the room. I make the entity walk backwards, and then I make him sit down. The entity inside the body wants to work with me, and he is under some kind of strict rules now that he has come to this place and is in a disembodied state. He was compelled to come here and is compelled to follow my commands. The whole power thing comes to mind that Dr. Green told me and taught me. I start to think of all the things I could do with this body. Sammy Q Patriot says, great show, Linda and Thomas. Thank you so much, Sammy. I appreciate that. It's very, very kind. We do the best we can. All right, so go for it.
Well, I was going to say,
Weeping Willow's back. Wow.
Oh, hi, Weeping Willow. We were just talking about you.
Yes, and she or he or she, we don't know yet, says Q lives.
Said that you are very inspiring to us. And so, anyway, the fact that you come back all the time and you're so supportive is very. It's like soul food.
It is. It's extremely flattering, and it is soul food. It keeps us going. You have no idea. And it says 17 lives.
So I wanted to just do a little recap on this, because what you're saying is that this James Casbolt, but his altar is sitting there. So, and he's underneath this part of the pyramid. There's a point of the pyramid. So that's going to be, I guess, the energy point. You know, that's part of what they're trying to do. He has to be underneath the point of the pyramid, and that the pyramid's probably on some kind of ley line or something like that. So then they're going to call down this spirit. But here's the thing. Why are they putting him there? Well, they're putting him there because he has Anunnaki, supposedly hybrid, blood prime. And they know that the entity that they are calling down is not going to be able to inhabit they have to create something that this entity can inhabit. And so I do believe that the DNA, and then they clone these people. Like Max Spears says, there's a whole bunch of clones of him. And I wonder if they're not creating clones out of this Anunnaki DNA, these kids.
Guarantee you they are.
And because these great ones that are up there that they're trying to call down into these bodies cannot exist in any way unless there is some kind of Anunnaki DNA in there. It's just a theory. And look, I'm not saying that as a scientist. I'm saying that as what they believe. That I'm wondering if that's what they believe. That whether that's real science or not, I don't know. They're hiding everything from us.
Yeah, they hide it, but I think are they clone? Yeah, they most certainly could be. I mean, they want this stuff. They want. I don't know. I'm trying to.
Well, and it's like Q says they want us for energy. The Q is trying to explain how. That was really hard for me. It was like energy. What do you mean energy? How do they use us for energy?
Right.
Like, what do you mean by that? It's very kind of I don't know. It's very ambiguous. And so what I'm thinking is that with the shredding, because all of this stuff messes up their DNA. And so the shape shifting comes in. So the technology is not perfected. They're losing chunks of their DNA, but they want to keep going with it because the choice is that they die and they have to face consequences. And so they're going to keep going with it, even though it's flawed technology. And many of them are stuck in really bad clones, subhuman clones. So they're literally, their DNA is subhuman. So I wonder if that was the intent all along, was to just keep using us for the blood and the DNA to keep their shredded DNA and their damaged DNA from decomposing.
Right. I mean, we're special people. Like,
yeah,
we are of God. We are of the light. So it's like, of course they want our genetic makeup. Of course they want to, as they are becoming decrepit and they're falling apart and they're tearing at the seams. This is what it is, and they use us. They of course they use our energy. They use it for themselves. When they're doing with like fetuses and stuff like that. When the whole thing with Project or Planned Parenthood and everything like that, and how they're directly correlated to the elite. They're doing this for a reason, and adrenochrome, all that kind of stuff. It all ties in together.
Also, the ones that are addicted to it the most seem to look the worst.
Oh God, yes.
It's like they look hideous. They look horrible, and so it's almost like they must be the ones that need it the most, really, because I had a hard time with this whole adrenochrome thing, mainly because you're going to do this just to get high.
Sure.
Like, I just could not.
No, it's not that simple. There's no way.
That's what I think.
Exactly.
I think it's not that simple.
No.
They're not. Yeah, they're evil. They're evil.
They know what they're doing.
It seems like the high wouldn't be that great where you would keep doing this over and over and over again. Sooner or later, you'd be, God, how can I be doing this, if there was any humanity in you? But just to get high, no. I think they need the DNA.
Sure, they eat pineal glands. You think that's normal? You think you don't go back for more? They're getting stuff from this. And the fact that they're best friends, it's just like, with Marina Abramovic.
drama.
Why do they link up with this person? You think they're doing it for shits and giggles? No, they're doing it. They're talking to entities because they're getting something in return. And we've talked about this so much. And again, guys, remember I told you about that movie, Hereditary? Watch that movie. At the end of the movie, you'll know. That's why when Red Pill was here, that's what we watched. We watched that movie, Hereditary, and it blew his mind. And I told him, I said, dude, it just brings everything into perspective of these people really do worship entities for longer life, for wealth, and for anything that they want, for riches, anything, prosperity. And then in the end, they lose their soul. But whoever created that movie, I don't know what the director's name is. You can Google it right now. That guy knows about this stuff. He knows about the esoteric. He knows about Hollywood. He knows about these entities. It was I can't think of the entity. It was a god, Pale, Paeal or something like that. I don't know. It's a real one, and it has to. I don't know. I'm going on a tangent. It has to transfer through male bodies, which is creepy. But I want to keep going because we're about to get into the MK Ultra initiation and all kinds of stuff. So we'll finish this paragraph up. It says, 3 blonde women are brought into the chamber by black-clad men with dark plastic face masks on, same type worn by security who guarded us in the Canadian facility. Again, remember they're in the jungles of Brazil now. The women are brought to the front of the altar and put down on their knees. A psionic struggle between myself and the creature now commences. In my body, as the creature tries to pull forward to attack the women, 4 men in robes join in on the psionic struggle with chanting and arm waving. I manage to take control of my body during this process and come back into my own body, which then goes back to normal. Myself and the women are then taken upstairs to the left of the chamber by the security guards. I'm exhausted, put in a jeep and driven to a helicopter. Next memory is I'm at some kind of an airport with the Germans, Americans, and British men. Papers are signed regarding my transportation back to the UK. Scientific note. So, the story picks back up where he's back in Britain, UK Brighton in 1984. MK Whisper initiate. So he gets back in his body. This is insane. And then I guess they're like, well, where do we go from here? I guess we bring in the next person, the next victim. I guess this person can now take control of this entity, thus deemed worthy to leave here alive, I'm guessing. I don't know. And then into the real world where he'll probably be used for future experiments or become weaponized.
And they're saying, I got this from Fritz Springmeier. The name of the book is Creating the Perfect Illuminati Slave, I think. Perfect New World Order Illuminati Slave.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a deprogrammer. So he knows all about their programming. And they do, like I was saying before, they have a slot. So, or that entity is dormant now in that slot that is left for an entity to fill, an altar. It's an altar slot for an entity to fill. So they can call entities down and go into this person, and they can walk around in the halls of that person's brain and check all the compartments and make sure everything is functioning the way that it's supposed to function inside the super soldier. No memories are coming back. They're not talking to anyone or having any conversations with people that they shouldn't. That everything is working according to plan. So if there is a compartment inside of Max Spears or Prince or a jailer or an entity to enter, perhaps it was that entity entered and was laying dormant, just like all the other personalities, inside of Casbolt or, whatever, to be conjured up at a later date, to be called out, to be triggered.
That's what I was saying, to be weaponized. That's their thing. I'm going to be honest with you, this is so long. There is a lot that we're not even the halfway through with this. We may need to do a part 2 to this because, this the whole thing with Michael Prince is, and James Casbolt is crazy.
And Max Spears even adds another layer of crazy to it. And there's other ones out there of these 42 kids that are out there.
Right.
And
so I guess this is what these kids go through. Is that what we're reading?
Yeah.
He's one of the kids.
You know, when I was listening to Og Talese and it hit me, they don't look at it as torture. They look at it as if you're going through a military training to be a super soldier. That's the way they look at it. They look at this as totally normal. That you're going to be about ready to, you can't stand the pain, you think you're going to die, and then all of a sudden you cross over, and that's when the new personality is formed. You are actually entering that alter state, and the other personality is dealing with the pain, but that personality is locked away. You now have a new personality. And the way they describe it is they act like this is just normal, everyday business as usual. These MK Ultra victims, they went, well, it all goes away after a while. I'm like, what?
No, it settles.
Yeah, it actually does not all go away.
No, it settles in your body. It settles in your mind, like a sitting virus.
But as victims, they're told that.
Sure, yeah.
Pass this test. You know, they'll know they passed the test because it'll all go away. And it's just one of those things you have to do. One of those steps you have to take to be a super soldier. They don't think anything of it. They put themselves through it. And who was that was saying that? I think it was Og Talese. And he was saying, and sometimes they even ask them. They'll say, do you want to continue and know the secrets of the universe? And he said he was like 9 years old when they asked him that. And he signed a paper saying he wanted to continue and all of that stuff with the program because of the way they trick you, you know, the way they word it. They make it seem like, okay, this is part of a program. It's a special program. They wouldn't be in it unless they were special, you know, so they build them up. And then they tear them down and then they build them back up again. So they're doing this constantly. These people, you cannot do enough to them. To be doing this to the brains of children is, I've never heard anything so evil in my life. And to listen to him say that we knew it was going to be all right in a little while. I'm just like, God, it's the worst thing I've ever heard of.
It's terrible. Hugh, thank you so much for the super chat. It looks like you're sending that from abroad, so I appreciate that, man. Hope things or ma'am, I hope things are gravy with you. Yeah, so
they don't it's not like they're full of rage or anything. They don't look at it that way. As hard as that is to imagine, by the time they get through this program, they're with other kids that are going through it too.
Sure.
So it's kind of mind-blowing to me that they just think that this is normal, you know?
I agree. I wanted to let everyone know that I saw that, speaking of children and what's going on, we kind of touched base on Hollywood and so on and everything like that. Corey Feldman is about to release a video in the beginning of March. I saw a article on that today that he said he's going to call out everyone. He's got proof. So if Corey Feldman dies here in the near future, you'll know why. If it does not get released and he dies, you'll know that there was some significant information, significant proof, evidence of what takes place in Hollywood. He wants to basically take care of his friend, Corey Haim, who is Canadian, by the way. We've been talking about Canada a lot in this episode. So, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens to Corey. But
he said this a couple times before.
Just like I don't know if he's LARPing, but we'll see.
Just like what's his name? Home Alone.
Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they drag him back down there and do something to him.
Yeah.
Maybe even replace them. Because a lot of times they come back, they don't look right. Look at 50 Cent.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the other one?
Eminem.
Eminem. I know. I just saw Eminem. I'm like, that's not Eminem.
Yeah. He's like, he looks like he's about, I don't know. He looks completely different, acts different. They all had to do the eyes, the big eyes like that.
Well, this is one thing that these guys say. in this ibis project, that they have been cloned, like they've made lots of clones of them. So why? And the things they put these people through, they kill them and they bring them back to life, and they're just doing the most horrible things. And when you listen to these people describe it, it's just, it makes you want to cry, that they seem to accept it, but still I don't accept it. Like, I'm listening to this thing and he's saying he's 5 or 6 years old when this happens. And I'm just outraged for them.
Sure.
They're not outraged about it. They seem to think, oh, well, it was part of the program.
Yeah, the name of that movie was Hereditary. People are coming out with, a bunch of stuff. Dave Chappelle looks different.
Dave Chappelle, that's it. Whoever said that.
He looks different. I don't know if you know this rapper Gucci Mane. He looks completely different.
Jessica Simpson looks completely different.
I haven't seen her in so long, so yeah, she.
Oh my God, it doesn't even look like the same person.
Yeah. Let's yeah, that movie was called Hereditary. So definitely check that out. It's like $3 if you want to watch it. The end of it's incredible. It just shows you so much. So I want to continue on with this. UK Bright 1984. This is after he's helicoptered out of the jungle. So he says, instead of having my experiences in Canada, Malaysia, South America, and Mexico presented to the world's media, I come back to the UK with my memories erased of ever being in those countries. Now I am back in the UK. I spend time at a flat on the end of the 4th Avenue. May have been 5th. I'm not 100% sure, in Brighton. This is my godmother's flat. A woman named Jean Greer. Across the road on the corner is some of the MI6 processing centers. This is a house on the corner full of operatives in offices with people sitting in front of the computers and walking around with paperwork. Jean, myself, and my mother are regularly taken from our flat across the street and taken to this place. The MI6 clown I like programming takes place here. So I guess that's where they see the entities and everything. That's where they go through all the rigmarole. Go for it.
I'm gonna run to the girls' room.
Okay, you're fine. I can talk to. I'll pause right there. So, again, guys, Bonnie, I will continue to post this link. I know this is very interesting. If you're enjoying yourselves, please subscribe to both our channels, True Reporting and McAllister TV. We're both on there. Yes, Lady Snooze Button, Toni Collette. Yes, she's amazing in that movie. But again, if you're enjoying this, please subscribe to McAllister TV. Please subscribe to True Reporting. That's Linda's channel. And if you want to support the channel, you most certainly can by going down below to the super chat. You can hit we can do the $2 train would be great. If everyone donated $2, that'd be awesome. Really helps us out. It really helps us buy more and more stuff to help the channel go much smoother, right? And please smash that like button, guys. I believe tomorrow there's a rally in New Hampshire, so I'll be streaming that as well. So you guys take place. And again, a big thank you to Weeping Willow Tree. Thank you again.
Oh yes, thank you.
The generosity, your generosity knows no bounds. Again, I will drop the link one more time into the chat because I know you guys want to know what I'm reading from. It's very interesting and it's long, so if you don't have anything to do tonight, this is a great read.
Another thing is these programs and everything have been going on for so long, and it's kind of, when Q says what you are about to learn should scare you.
Sure.
That. I honestly, I have to say, based on all of the research that I'm doing, I really think there's more than one thing going on here. I really do. I don't think it's just and if, let's just say, the Anunnaki, that's all real. They were here, they never left. They hid underground and then they came back up and they're wreaking all this havoc. That's just one element, I think. If it's true, that's just one element. I really think we have basically had open borders on our Earth for a
Oh,
long time. And we've got all kinds of things going on here that we don't know anything about. And that includes other dimensions
oh,
as well.
100%. I think a barrier has been placed, though. Locke will win
Yeah.
one. Thank you so much for that super chat. I greatly appreciate it. Um, you know,
David Paulides is always saying there's no one thing that answers the question. There's no one. It could, yeah, you could come up with the answer for one of these, like interdimensional, right? But then that doesn't explain some of the other stuff, which seems to be like Bigfoot. They see, yeah. So
I don't know. Can somebody let me know? Or maybe you can, Linda. Can you let me know how many people's in the room right now?
there's 3,180 watching.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a huge group. This might be one of our biggest groups, to be honest. This is I'm so glad you guys are loving this, because me and Linda get really stoked on this. We get really
Yeah.
pumped up on this.
It's like the high point of my week because, I like the news and everything, and certainly, it's interesting what's happening now because we're talk about Anunnaki and aliens and shape-shifting and stuff like that. I've often said I think we're going to get to watch their eyeballs pop out of their head and their heads spin around and all kinds of crazy stuff happen because it's happening right now. But this is, in the end, I want to know what's really going on. I want to know what's going to scare us. What you're about to learn should scare you. Well,
Yes.
That scares me already. I want to know what it is. I'm like, already, I'm like, what?
I think we'll find out, though. Lisa Pack, thank you so much for that super chat. I think we'll find out what the hell's going on, what this reality is, and everything. It may be 20 years from now, but I really believe.
I don't think it's going to be.
You don't think?
It's going to be within, I would say within 5 years, I think we're going to either know pretty much everything or be, I think within once this thing happens, once the eating of the children and the drinking of the blood and all that comes out,
Yes.
they're going to have to explain to us why are they doing this. It's not like you said, yeah, okay, it's part of their religion and they think that they're giving blood to the gods, but that's not the only reason.
No.
That's not the only reason, because that's too kooky. Even they can't, even they after a while would be leaving, just noticing how the world is and knowing how the world would react to that. But I think it's more than that. I think they need it.
I think they needed to survive as well. Trump card, what's up, my man? You don't fear controversial. That went too quick. Oh no, it went away. Where'd he go? I gotta catch back up. You don't fear controversial subjects. It's great. Thank you. Yeah, we don't.
No, we
I
don't.
don't even. Is this controversial? I guess it is because it's conspiratorial, but it is what it is. Frank Dallafour says judgment comes for what they have done to the children. Hell yeah, I agree to that, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Frank. And Susan Jane, thank you so much for that super
Totally
chat.
innocent.
They're totally innocent. They're God's children. We're all God's children, but it's the innocence that
Totally
they
innocent.
have, and they take
I've
advantage of it.
I've heard that these people vibrate from the fear, from seeing children in fear. They get off on it so much, they vibrate with it. And then if you want to talk about shape-shifting, I've heard that when they get to the point where they need it, the DNA. Now, this comes from Arizona Wilder. And she is one of the first MK Ultra victims to come out. She was an elite, and she knows, I think she was with Mengele for many years, and she talks about the queen shape-shifting. And she describes the queen as a lizard. It talks about her, just in a normal voice, talks about her scales and all kinds of other things and the coloring and all. But she says that they get so that they rip into these kids. They just rip into them and they pull out they rub the fat, the intestinal fat all over their scales and their skin, and they do all kinds of things. The way she described it, I thought, how can anybody make this up? This is just frightening.
I've never seen it in a movie. I've seen tons of horror movies. I've never seen anything like that. William Cuthbert. I love watching these broadcast shows you guys do. Thank you. Well, it's beyond the headline, so make sure you pass it forward. That's right. Make sure you you pass it forward and you retweet this and share on all social media. Hashtag it out there. You know.
And also, I wanted to say this, and this is one of the reasons I like doing this with Thomas, because I think it's the conversation that's important. You know, we're going to talk about things that maybe even I find hard to believe or whatever, but my goal is to open my mind and to think, okay, what if? You know, that's what they teach policemen to do when they go onto a crime scene. They're not supposed to say, well, it looks like a suicide, let's go. They're supposed to go in and go, well, it looks like a suicide, but what if? What if the husband wanted to kill the wife? What if it's staged? You know, what if? So that's kind of what these conversations are about, opening up, listening to other people's theories and saying, what if this, what if that? It's not about saying I'm right and you're wrong, you know? It's just a conversation of what ifs, and everybody contributes, and we're going to get the answers.
Oh, I agree.
The difference between us and the average Joe is we're not going to be blindsided by it.
No. Sister,
because we've had these conversations.
100, yeah, we're not going to be blindsided, and you guys are within all this too, so you're not going to be blindsided as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Sister Chick, thank you so much for the super chat. She says, choo choo. Appreciate that. Patty Cakes, look up the lyrics for Kendrick Lamar's song called DNA. I did that right now, and my mind is completely blown. The lyrics go like this. This is, it says, I got it, I got it, I got it, I got it. Loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA. Cocaine quarter piece, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I got hustle, though, ambition flow inside my DNA. I was born like this, since one like this, immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this, was Yeshua's new weapon. I don't contemplate, I meditate, then off with your effing head. This, that, put the kids to bed, this, that, realness, because I cuss, whatever, blah, because it's in my DNA. I got dark, I got evil, that rot inside my DNA. I'm building my DNA. I got off, I got troublesome heart inside my DNA. What? One of the biggest rappers ever. Is he the one who has a lot of the symbology in his videos? I can't remember. There's Kendrick Lamar, and then there's another one.
I used to listen to all that. anything that made me want to dance, you know, I'd
sure.
listen to, which ended up being like Eminem and a lot of that stuff. I threw it all away. I've thrown it all away. 2016, I threw every single thing, and if I could get rid of iTunes on my computer, I would do that too. So yeah, I don't listen to that stuff unless I'm researching clones.
Okay, I was thinking of Travis Scott. I know that guy is really dark. The
rap community seems to be there, and I showed the tweets on my Antarctica breakaway civilization, because I think that's a lot of what's down there. All these, like Michael Jackson, they say Michael Jackson is down there because his clone was just, you know, it was just shredded. There wasn't anything left. The nose was falling off and everything. And when that DNA, because all of these things that these guys are doing, these rappers, they say they're supposed to be at the cloning center. They call them in all the time. And if you notice on one of the tweets in my Antarctica piece, it was what's her name? Ariana Grande.
Yep.
Grande. Okay. She tweeted, I saw you in my dreams last night, boy. It was just a dream. It was just a dream. And then underneath, she posted REM, but she posted it upside down. That's REM cloning. They have the clones down there of the actors and the actresses, anybody of any import, politicians, whatever. When they go into the clones are ready for when their bodies wear out, right?
Sure.
Well, in the meantime, these Illuminati guys go down there and use their clones for sex and stuff.
Sure.
That's part of the contract. Brittany, that's how they say Brittany died. People using her clone all the time. And that she never had any dreams. She was always at the cloning center. So these guys are doing that, right? They're being called, if their light goes on next to their clone, they could call them down there to the cloning center for whatever they want. They're just to hang out and talk or whatever. They could snag them out of their REM sleep. When they do that, the DNA shreds. It doesn't come back right. So they're doing it all the time. So little by little, their DNA is losing big chunks.
Right.
And their memories and their behavior patterns, all of your characteristics. There's just so much information. So they're missing major chunks. So I think the kids, eating the kids, drinking the blood and everything helps repair their DNA from the cloning and the time travel and whatever. Jump pads, all this stuff where they actually are messing with their own DNA.
Jump pads, yeah. I agree with that. I gotta get. There's been a give it a super chat. American First says, just because you don't go during the rapture doesn't mean you aren't going to heaven. Only means you aren't going without suffering. Maybe I'm not too keen on that. Beverly Adams, Elton John's lyrics to Live Like Horses. He knows what the elites do. He chose different. Coded songs tell us how to be free of it. That very well could be. I haven't really listened to Elton John. There was another one up here. I gotta find it. Brittany Taylor. Have you guys seen, in quote, John Podesta, torturing child in shower? Yes, I have. It doesn't show anything. It sounds like him and it's scary. They are demons if you search my quote. Yeah, John Podesta torturing child. Yes, I have watched that. And guys, I will tell you this. If you're kind of sensitive to this stuff, do not watch that video. It bothered me for a couple days, to be honest.
Not so much the image, because you can't really see
it's
anything.
just the talking.
Shadowy.
Oh God.
But it's the sound of that little boy begging him. And he's screaming at this kid.
Yeah.
Telling him, I bet you think you're hot shit, don't you? He's screaming. And he's obviously electrocuting the kid's being shocked or electrocuted or something. He screams. The kid screams and he goes, no. The kid goes, no. He goes,
he's like, you call me daddy.
There's one part where the kid goes, God help me. And
I'm telling you guys, don't watch that if you're kind of sensitive to this stuff. It bothered me too.
The sound of it.
It's complete filth. But on a lighter note, I want to show everyone since we're talking about that, I want to show everybody that before we leave, because we only got about 5 minutes left, the thick ankle dog faced shirts are done. They're done. So if you guys want one, I will be ordering them. I posted a thing online on Twitter on how many of these I should order. So, again, you guys got to follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. Please follow Linda as well. Linda_Paris, please. Oh, wow. That was thank you so much. Mosaics are for me. Thank you so much for the super chat. She says, I love the two of you. Thank you. We love you as well. And your generosity is incredible.
I got to say this. I look forward to this every, it was Friday, but you have Daddy Day on some Fridays, and that's okay. That's good. But I look forward to doing this. This is the most fun that I have really all week.
It's a lot of fun. And again, guys, we will promote the hell out of this on what it's going to be. Fridays from 8 to 10, our normal program, our normal time. And then on the next time, the following week, it's going to be this time, Sundays from 5 to 7. And don't worry, me and Linda will promote the hell out of it with the times and everything so you won't get lost. Hell, we're doing it at a different time, and we have how many Lindas in the group right now? I can't see it on my end. How many's in the chat, Linda?
3194, 3,100.
Yeah, 3194. And Karen Munsey says 144,000 sealed indictments. That number has gone to 147,000 I saw today. So make sure you see that. Check that out. There is some stuff going on. So, guys, I wanted to show you this. This is the thick ankle dog face shirt right here, right now. if you want one, I will be selling these. I don't know the price yet, but if you want one, you most certainly can get one. It's very, very detailed. You can see the ankles with the hair. She's got the monitor on. She's got the dog. She's crying. This is one of her actual faces when she was in front of a jury, I believe, or something. She's got the collar on. I'm with her. Remember her logo. It's all about me, 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 as Trump always points out. So that's there, and you can see this one. This is the T-shirt. Thick ankle dog face. Not faced. It's been changed, but thick ankle dog face. If you want one.
And it actually looks cute on a T-shirt with the jeans outfit and everything.
So you can spit in the face of corruption. You can spit in the face of a murderous, thick-ankled, smelly pants, dog face goblin. You can go out there and show your support for True Reporting. This took a lot of work, a lot of time, and I want to thank one of my mods, Buck Swain, for hooking me up with that artist. If you want one,
is so well done. That's really well done.
It's good. So yeah, wear it. Make fun of her. She's garbage. People are like, oh, you like don't get, don't stoop to their level. Oh, you mean the level of eating children? That level? No. It's funny. They can't take it. They're sensitive. They can't take it.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason they're doing all this is because they're scared of being made fun of.
Exactly. They can't take it. That's when I just saw Biden, who, in my opinion, if that's not a clone, I don't know what is.
Yeah, that's a clone.
Yeah, 100%. But a lady in one of his things today, I guess one of his speech announcements or something, she said, how do you plan on keeping this together? How do you plan on keeping this moving forward when there's a lot of infighting and so on and so forth? And he couldn't handle it. He broke under pressure. I believe Donald Trump Jr. tweeted it out. So go look at that. They can't handle it. So guys, and
look what they did to the Trump supporters in Florida.
Jacksonville, yes.
That's their answer.
Violence.
Yeah, they like shut you down.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, we're not going to come up with any new ideas for 2020. We're not going to go out and campaign. We're not going to get together and try to come up with a plan. They are American hating.
They hate it. They're communists.
Idiots.
They're communists.
They are like anybody that would vote for the Democrats at this part gets what they deserve. They're going to get the snark.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I agree with Lady Carolyn. Read your Bibles, people. I agree. And guys, we haven't even touched the surface of this. We've got to get back into it for a part 2. Unfortunately, we only have 2 minutes left. So, Linda, if you want to plug anything and everything, hit it up.
Oh, I just was go say, come and see me at McAllister TV, Deplorable McAllister, on YouTube. And I'll be working on McAllister TV online.com because what I'm trying to do is get away from YouTube because I don't want to be worried about YouTube censoring me, doing all this stuff. I can't take it anymore.
Right.
So I need to be in my own free zone. But my website's going to be free. It's going to be open to everybody when it comes up. And there'll be some far beyond the headlines.
Yes, that's another thing we're working on, my friend. So, yeah, definitely, please.
So this would be, can I say just one last thing?
Absolutely. Say whatever you want. Yeah.
So this would be a good thing like what we were talking about before, because once things get situated, then we'll be doing Beyond the Headlines, and then we'll go way beyond the headlines, and we'll just pick up where we left off.
I love that idea. That's such a good idea. And again, my friends, we're going to be doing that. There is a TRUreporting.tv.us that's about to drop here probably at the end of February, a little bit behind. So we're just trying to perfect everything. All streams will go there. All merch will go there. We're going to come out with bumper stickers here, car decals here soon, koozies. Everything is going to be on there. And we have an artist. So if you checked out that if you like that T-shirt and you liked how much work was put into that, there will be a price on that, obviously, and we'll see how many we need to order. But you guys were the first to see it, so I hope you're stoked about it. Promises made, promises kept on this end, son.
One more thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are watching the rally or anything like that, go to Thomas's channel, because I watched the State of the Union, and I was watching everybody's, and I went back to Thomas's because it was so much fun. And I don't know how many of you guys were on the chat that night, but Thomas had the best chat.
Yeah, no, we hit home runs here when we do the live streams of the rallies and the so on and so forth, anything with Trump. So yeah, guys, if you want a T-shirt, DM me. Do whatever you need. I just have to get them shipped, and that's all, and we'll get to it. But again, guys, make sure that you check out Red Pill's Stream with Methods, his Sunday Cozy Show. It starts right now. So I want to thank everybody who showed up today. I want to thank all the mods, Ralph Riley, Sunny Skies. Thank you so much. I know you two were here alone.
Mods.
Yes, thank you. And Shane, I'm glad you hopped in at the end. I know you're at work. It's all gravy. Everyone who donated, thank you so much. You're the life source of both of our channels. You have no idea. And everyone who dunked that like button, I appreciate that too. Guys, I will talk to y'all very soon. Me and Linda will see you next Friday, this coming Friday, from 8 to 10 p.m. for another edition of Beyond the Headlines. Beyond the Headlines, for an all-new edition, an all-new episode. I will talk to you guys later. Linda, thank you again.
Thanks, Thomas.
We'll
Goodbye,
see you,
everybody.
We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.